Hi, Dave here with the dads, Harris and Dave. Well, we are down to countdown. Today is the last day before Thanksgiving. We've accomplished most things on our list. I think most of you have actually seen our blog and have been through our Thanksgiving menu. And each day we've been doing just a little bit at a time, so it takes away the stress come actual Thanksgiving Day. There's some things you actually have to do on Thanksgiving because it's just best when it's prepared fresh. Today, actually what we have on our list for today to do is our smoky salmon ball, our eggplant Potlagani, our flower arrangements, and after dinner tonight we'll be setting the table for tomorrow. That just takes, again, that additional stress off of tomorrow. Of course, with a lot of your guests already arriving, we already have a full house. As a matter of fact, there will be 8 or 9 for dinner tonight. So it's also a matter of planning for those meals as well. Well, right now we're going to actually be talking though about the eggplant Potlagani. It is a wonderful dish I think we mentioned to you earlier, which is from a friend of ours, Robin. We're actually going to be taking 2 nice-sized eggplants, medium-sized. We actually are going to pierce them, with a knife. Oh, sorry about that. Just so that the steam will escape as it cooks. Just give it a couple good pokes around. And then I've already got my oven heated up to 400 degrees. We're actually going to roast the eggplant, which is going to help pull out the natural sugar from the eggplant itself. Then put this in the oven. And that's going to take about an hour's time. You'll actually be checking on it in about an hour. You're going to make certain, you'll see the eggplant will start to kind of get that kind of collapsed look to it. And you'll know that that's when it's done. It's not critical if it doesn't get fully cooked at that point, because then what we're going to do is saute the pulp once we drain it. I'm going to show you all of that step by step, because this does take a little bit more experience in doing, especially with the amount of herbs. I like to use all fresh herbs in this dish here, but it makes a wonderful relish. It needs to be done really the day ahead, because sitting in the fridge overnight, letting all the flavors of all the different herbs in it meld together, especially with the lemon, the thyme, the rosemary, the sage. It's a wonderful item. You're going to love it. Stay with us. We'll be making this through the afternoon. Take care. Okay, and we're back. It has been a very busy day in the kitchen, and you know, just like anybody else's kitchen, interruptions, you've got guests trying to remember what the heck you're doing. I write it down, and that's why I also keep my recipes handy, because with all the confusion going on, especially when you're preparing so many items, it's tough to keep up. We also have additional guests coming. Suddenly we're making a different pie. All right, but now our eggplants. Remember we were making the eggplant Potlagani, our eggplants roast. Remember I said you'll notice they'll have shrunk down, shriveled up a little bit. That tells you they're fully soft and ready, because you want to get them to look just like this. I've already done one, and we're just going to do the other. I want to show you how we're doing this. I just cut the top of it itself off, and then we're going to cut this lengthwise. You see, I'm going to just scoop out the flesh from inside of it. I have my spoon handy right here. I'm sorry, I am left-handed, so I'm sorry. Let's see, I just got my skin in there. Let's try not to do that. Alright, come on. There we go. Let me get all the rest of this out of here. You don't want to lose any of the good eggplant itself. You'll notice down at the base of it, it will still be a little bit on the firm side. And that's okay. We're going to get that taken care of as we saute it and finish cooking it in our skillet when we blend it with our herbs. So we're just scooping again out all the flesh. And I notice how I've got my sieve sitting above a bowl, so I can collect and drain my liquids out of it, because you don't want any of the liquid. Okay. See now what I'm left with? And I'm just going to use the back of my spoon, and I'm going to continue to mash it against my sieve to get as much of the liquid out as is possible. Okay. We're going to let that drain now for a little bit. Rinse my hands off. We're going to come over to the sink, because what we want to do is now begin getting our onions, or in this case we're using shallot, sauteed. Get my burner on. And I've already prepared a lot of my ingredients. If we can take a look, I have my lemon juice, I have my herbs, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. I have salt, kosher salt and black pepper. I have fresh basil, marjoram, rosemary, sage, and thyme. These are all my spices. I've already combined them. As I said, it makes it easier when I've got it already laid out and ready to go, because it does come together rather quickly. Put my burner down to a 6-inch pan. And we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil, EVOO, so I can use that to saute down. And it's okay if we have a little bit of extra olive oil, more than what you would think, because olive oil has such great flavor and adds a lot of depth to this recipe. Actually, as we get to the end of it, we're going to finish it off with a little bit of fresh olive oil that has not been cooked. Okay. I've just added my shallots, trying to get them up to temperature here. Get them going. We're going to let these cook for a little bit until they will soften. It's going to take a few minutes while that goes. Let me just check and see how my eggplant's doing. If you take a look, see how much of the liquid has come out? And that's what you want to do, is get as much of the liquid out as possible. Just keep working it across the sieve there. Let that continue to drain. Okay, my olive oil is heating up now. My shallots are just starting to go. This is going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to give just a pinch of salt to help them sweat a little bit. Okay. Now this is going to take a few minutes here, so I'll tell you what, while I let these cook down, and we'll come right back to you. Okay, as you can see, my onions and shallots have actually softened up very nicely, and they're just starting to get to the point of being brown. So now I'm ready to add our eggplant, which has remained over here in the sieve draining. I'm going to add that to it, and we're going to continue sauteing that now for about another 2 to 3 minutes. And as that is sauteed down, you can see I'm going to actually just work to incorporate my shallots into it. And at the same time, this way, any bit of the eggplant is going to finish cooking, and those little bits that may have been hard in there for you will actually soften up as well. You're going to use the wooden spatula, because what I find as I'm doing this, you notice how I'm actually kind of mashing it and breaking up any big bits, because remember, this is a dip that people are going to put on a cracker, and you want it to all be very soft and spread and no real big pieces in it. So I'm just going to continue mashing this down as I do it. Once we get this down, as I said, it's going to go for about 2 more minutes until all this is fully incorporated. The eggplant has fully cooked in here. And then I'm going to add my seasonings that we've already laid out. So again, just a couple more minutes. And what is good is my herbs, as you notice, as I told you earlier, these are all fresh out of our garden, with the exception of the marjoram, which I did actually use a McCormick's for that. I'm going to add that in. And the benefit of that is the herbs are actually going to cook too, so you won't be tasting the raw tasting of the herb itself. I can see it's a little dry, so I'm going to add just a touch more of the olive oil. Remember, that's okay. You're always going to be adjusting as you go along. Okay, and as I'm just going to work to incorporate that in now. If you notice, I had originally the herb against the bare bottom of the pan. Those herbs are going to cook in nicely, and they're going to meld and marry together. Then, now I'm going to add my salt and pepper. I add a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. And that sounds like a lot, but with all that's going on here, I think it's going to be just fine. And then, once I get that incorporated, we're going to add the lemon juice. The lemon juice is almost like adding a little bit of alcohol to anything. It helps bring all the flavors together. And with this dish, it kind of gives it that pop. It gives almost that real freshness to it, which is very delicious. Now, this is not a dip that typically I would serve today, because I find it's really better the next day. But if you don't have the next day to do it, having it in your refrigerator and let it marry together for about 2 to 3 hours after it's finished cooking, it'd be okay to serve it then too, but it does need some time to come together. One thing I will tell you I've learned, I have basically about a tablespoon of the lemon juice there that I squeezed out ahead of time. what I have learned is, as the flavors marry and it comes up in taste, don't be confused when you taste it, say, I think it could have more lemon. The lemon really comes out as it sits and comes together. So that's just my little tip on that one. See how this has really come together nicely? I am going to taste it in just a minute and make certain it has enough salt and pepper, and then I'm going to add a little olive oil when we go to finish it up. Alright, let's see how we're doing. Really good. Really good. Alright, I think we're done. I'm going to now just bring this into my dish right here. Sorry. There we go. As I said, we're going to float just a little bit of fresh olive oil on top. That way you'll get that true fresh taste. The olive oil itself. And that's it. Voila. Potlagani. Perfect for our Thanksgiving meal, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it as well. Happy Thanksgiving from Harris and Dave.